Hey, it's another edition of Coffee with the Goose. You know, I talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. I'm the Goose. Glad you joined me again. Let's talk a little boxing, shall we? Got some Manny Pacquiao news, or should I say Manny Pacquiao Jr. and Senior news. But first, let's have a little sip of Java. As you know, my coffee very strong, like my opinion. And yes, there is real coffee in there. Thanks for asking. And yeah, got a little creamer in there to make it sweet, just like me. All right, boxing it is. Got some news out of the ring. Manny Pacquiao Jr., otherwise known as Jamal, forgive me if I pronounced that incorrectly, I think it's Jamal, suffered his first defeat not long ago in San Francisco, an amateur bout that was Manny Jr.'s fourth amateur outing in front of a raucous crowd in San Francisco, but this time he met his match in the name of Chris Smith, and that was his first loss. As I said, he's now 3-1 on his amateur career. He's 21 years old, and you know, so far so good for the young guy. He's received a lot of help from dad, a little training, a little advice, you know, the ins and outs of the business, and it's a tough business, as you guys know. You know, there are a lot of good, capable fighters, but to take those steps towards good to very good to title contender to greatness, and then of course the legend that Manny Pacquiao is. That's a tough road to hoe, and hopefully Manny Jr. will successfully complete those steps. But again, it's a tough, very tough business, very dirty, vicious. Corrupt. We've seen all of that as we've followed Manny and other fighters throughout the decades. So Manny Pacquiao loses his first, Manny Pacquiao Jr., that is, loses his first amateur bout. But hey, you know, you lose, it's, you know, a lesson in life, as all of us have learned. If you lose, that doesn't make you a loser. You only lose when you quit trying and you hang it up, and you got to get back on your feet, dust yourself off, and go back at it, and learn from failures and your weaknesses, and keep going. And I'm sure Manny Pacquiao Jr. will do that. His dad has done that. You know, Manny's lost 8 times. Some of them were nasty. Of course, it's fighting, and a couple of those were not so fair. But that's, again, that's life. So we'll keep following Manny Pacquiao's son. Again, he's 3-1, and hopefully he'll have a bright future ahead of him. How about Dad? What's the latest with Dad? Of course, he had a failed attempt at winning the presidency of the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao. He remains a senator, and you know, we have followed him throughout his professional career. He's one of the all-time greats, and he retired for the second time last year after a loss to the Cuban fighter Ugas. And again, there was a lot of, you know, dirty cards involved in that bout, or the setting up of that bout. But I'm not going to go through that again. That's, you know, that's in the past. And that's boxing. That's professional sports, kind of like politics. You know, put on your big boy pants, because it's going to get nasty, and you got to handle it like you know, a true pro or true mature man or woman. So what's next for Manny? Well, after his loss to Ugas, I said it almost immediately, he's not going to stay retired. That's not who he is. And, you know, again, if you're a legend as Manny is, you're not just going to hang it up after a loss. No, not when you're fully capable of fighting again, even at that level. Even though he's 43 years old. Manny, as you know, and if you deny this, you're just not dealing in reality. Yeah, he's still one of the best welterweights on the planet. So who's next? I may be just wishing upon a star with this, but you know, Manny has shown us many times throughout his career that wishing upon a star, wishes aren't wishes. They turn out to be reality. And when you shoot for, you aim high, you know, and again, it's a good lesson in life. That's you need to push yourself. You need to challenge yourself, and you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish. And Manny has done that, winning world titles in 8 different weight classes. Nobody has even approached that. throughout history. So the two title holders now, I may be preaching to the choir, but I want to remind you, in the welterweight division are two great unbeaten fighters, Errol Spence Jr., who Manny was supposed to have fought last year, but of course that went by the wayside after Errol's very mysterious eye injury, and he's a native of the resident of the Dallas, Texas area, and the great Terrence Crawford, the Omaha, Nebraska native, again undefeated. Both of these guys are, they bring it all to the table, and we've seen that many times. They fight the best, and they are the best. Both unbeaten. They both have all the skills, and they both have heart. They both have that killer attitude, never say die attitude. Hopefully, we've been teased for a few years now on a fight between these two guys for a unification bout. And after Spence's defeat of Ugas recently, it would be an undisputed unification bout if these two guys go at it. And they both like to talk a lot of trash to each other. And of course, they can back it up. But the fight hasn't happened yet. And again, we've been teased. I think Crawford has been the one lately saying, yeah, we're almost there. We almost have an agreement. Well, almost doesn't count. Almost close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, right? We want to see, you guys signed it out of line. We want to see this bout. I really want to see it. But back to Pacquiao. What can we expect? Well, expect the unexpected. I would love to see him fight, even though he's not really into so-called tune-up fights. I'd like to see him fight this summer, and I'd like to see Spence and Crawford go at it, and I'd love to see Manny fight the winner of those the bout between those two guys maybe this fall. And again, don't doubt Pacquiao, don't doubt me, in my opinion. I've been watching boxing for a long time now. And, you and I both know that you can't sell Pacquiao short, even at the age of 43. If given the time, the proper time to prepare for his opponent, he can beat anybody, and that includes Yordenis Ugas. But again, not going to get into the history of why he didn't fight Spence and why Ugas was eventually the opponent. When you find out who your opponent's going to be a week and a half before the bout, you're not given the appropriate time to prepare for that opponent. And we know Pacquiao, with the help of the great trainer Freddie Roach, they prepare, studiously for their next opponent, and they know how to approach that fight, what their opponent's weaknesses and strengths are, and what their game plan will be. So I don't care who Pacquiao fights. If he has ample time to prepare for it, he can beat anybody. Still, even at his age of 43. Now, we've heard, Mayweather's name pop up a few times. Oh, we're going to fight an exhibition fight. I could care less about what Mayweather says or does. He's a retired fighter. He's all about exhibitions, and until they actually decide to do a rematch of that very disappointing fight years ago, I could care less. But I will tease you here, because just recently I found a list. I can't remember the exact name of the who came up with this list. I think it was Boxing World Fans or something. But to their credit, they came up with a list of the best fighters of each decade, starting, I think, 1910 or 1920. And yes, Pacquiao got one of the decades, and yes, Mayweather did as well, and Muhammad Ali. But I have serious issues with the other winners. I don't know what they were thinking, but I'm not going to give you any details now. Our next show, we'll get into that list, and I will dissect it for you and give you my opinion. With facts, of course. I try to use facts. And I want to hear what you guys have to say, too. So what about Manny? What about his son? What can we expect with these guys? What do you think will happen? What do you think will never happen? The opinions vary all over the place. So I want to know what you have to think. We have the best, smartest, most passionate YouTube viewers in the world. Yes, that is true. Anyhow, that's it for this edition of Coffee with a Goose. Thank you so much for watching. So glad you joined me again. And many, many thanks to you guys who have subscribed. And please do so if you haven't. You'll join a very big list. I can't remember how many, 50, 60,000, 65,000, something like that. It's amazing. I'm very grateful. So anyhow, that's it for this edition of Coffee with a Goose. Thank you so much for joining me again. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.